Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Oberiri. Happy Sunday, and I wish every one of us may our good works, our great works for God and humanity be not evil spoken of. Nigerians need urgent help. Urgent help. We've heard of what happened in Ibadan, Anambra State, and other places, even the Catholic Church. Where people went to access gifts, Christmas gifts that were packaged by good-natured, good-willed individuals, and some tragic incidents happened and people lost their life. It's a pointer to the level of poverty in the land, the level of desperation. Is that some of these states, some of the people that are involved in this, that are involved in this charity work, have been involved in this charity work, some of them for over 30, 40 decades, some of them for over 20 decades. It had been the same thing. During Christmas, they gather people, they share things to them. Merry Christmas. Of course, it's a season of gifts, it's a season of giving, it's a season of love, it's a season to celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. But this year's incidents across Nigeria has also brought to fore the level of poverty, the level of desperation in the land, and the need for each and every one of us to collectively work together to see how we can rescue Nigeria and rescue Nigerians. This is not the time to recriminate. This is not the time to apportion blames. This is not the time to begin to adopt this holier than thou attitude of the average Nigerian hypocrite. This is the time for us to sit down and ask ourselves what kind of country and society that we want for ourselves. What has happened has shown clearly, beyond desperation, also the nature of greed of mankind, the nature of greed of the average Nigerian. Like I said, we can attribute to what has happened to many factors. Poverty, of course, the mass poverty has deepened, and for those of us who understand numbers, the over 197 million Nigerians live in poverty. If you don't want to believe it, the statistics are very clear. According to World Bank poverty measuring indicator, anybody who earns anything less than $64.50 is considered to be poor, and $64.50 is equivalent to 110,000 naira. How many Nigerians earn 110,000 naira? Even if you go to the civil service, how many civil servants earn that kind of amount of money every month? That's the level of poverty in the land. But can we build up an economy that guarantees minimum revenue earning of at least 300,000 naira for each and every one of us, the least paid, the least earning? Yes, we can. But how do we do it? We can actually start with making it a threshold of 150,000 naira. That is 5,000 naira every day. Can we build an economy that generates enough productivity and activity in such a way that the least among us, in terms of strength, in terms of productivity, can earn at least 150,000 naira a month, which is above the poverty threshold based on the current exchange rate, even based on the projected exchange rate for next year, based on the federal government fiscal projections? Yes, we can, but we need to be honest with ourselves and do the right things. I read the budget. I took time to go through the budget proposal of the federal government of Nigeria, and I was so depressed. I was so depressed because I sit here, I see the mass potentials in this country, I see the great potentials, I see the great things we can do in Nigeria to create maximum value for everybody, to create an all-inclusive prosperity growth for everybody. And I see the little or no effort that those in power are putting in place, and it breaks my heart to pieces. Budget of 47 trillion, 47.9 trillion, 31 $billion. Some people see it as ambitious. Some people said, it was 27 trillion last year. Where are they going to get 47 trillion? And unfortunately, a majority of Nigerians, I'm sorry to use the word, are so ignorant. Even the media men. I was on one TV station yesterday, and those interviewing me were just asking some questions that made me begin to wonder, does these guys actually know what is happening in Nigeria? Does these guys actually understand clearly the kind of questions they were asking, even the kind of interjections? It broke me. Many of us need to study. We need to look around. We need to do research. We need to understand. A budget of 47 trillion, $31 billion. It's not even ambitious. For crying out loud. 2022, South Africa did revenue of $126 billion. Just 60 million people. Netherlands, in last year alone, did 124 billion euros agro export. They did total revenue of over $600 billion. 18 million people in an arable land mass of 1.9 million hectares. I am not asking us to send anybody to the moon. I am not looking at, see, with level of poverty in Nigeria, with level of inflation, it's a no-brainer with the level of illiteracy in the land. That yes, if we decide to invest, which is the right thing to do, 25% of our expenditures on education, which is we will need to do, and 15% on health, 40% of our expenditures on education and health over the next 3 years. That is the only thing we can do consistently for us to at least gain traction in terms of trying to build the basics, educate people, bring people to the level of knowledge that can help them to think independently and work independently and earn some good living. Nigeria is it's not the first place where poverty was this deep in 1980. China had 759 million people. But the Chinese understood clearly that the greatest key to unlock people from the prison of poverty is literacy. Give them knowledge, give them education. Not education just sounds, it must not be, yes, basic education is compulsory, primary, secondary, compulsory. Even if you don't want to be a businessman, you want to go into vocation, you want to run your business, you want to be an entrepreneur, you must be able to understand numbers, you must be able to know how to balance your books. So basic formal education, primary, secondary, should be made compulsory in Nigeria and should be made free, and we can fund it. But the truth is that that was what China did, that was what Singapore did. And if you look around the world, the top 10 most industrialized countries, the top 10 safest places to live in the world are areas that have 98% literacy level. Many people are deceived, even those who carry degree certificates are actually illiterate, because when a man passes through the 4 walls of the university, and the 4 walls of the university, the character that is supposed, the name and character qualification that is supposed to get has not been acquired, that man is not educated. Education actually replaces the mind. An educated man is a man that is able to evaluate options and choices and make the right choice that will be beneficial to him and the public. Any man that cannot rightly evaluate situations and make a right choice that is beneficial to him and the larger society, especially the larger society, is what Carlo Cipollone called stupid. A stupid man is a man that cannot take decisions, evaluate options, and make informed decisions that will add greater value to him and the society. And that is the truth. And I look at this budget and it breaks my mind. And look at the highlights. Crude oil output, 2 million. Some people say it's over ambitious. It's not over ambitious. We can ramp up crude oil output to 2.53 million barrels over the next 1 year. We've done it before. In 2010, we were doing 2.88 million barrels a day. In the month of October, we even exported 2.43 million barrels of crude oil and condensate. Brazil, with crude reserve of 15 billion, that is a third of our crude reserve, is doing 2.3 million barrels every day. They generate over $121 billion annually through their management by Petrobras. They do over 36 billion every year profit. And we know what to do. Every one of us understand clearly that the criminality in the public sector is not something that you can just overhaul overnight, but you can put measures in place to mitigate some of the danger. See, we put more focus. Yes, the politicians can actually shape this, but you and I know that the average civil servant in Nigeria is also dubiously minded. The politicians cannot loot and steal without the active connivance of the public office career civil servants. They are the ones that show them where to steal, how to steal, and how to see. If we do the right thing, when Buhari came in and talked about how they are going to do zero budgeting, we all clapped. They didn't do any zero budgeting. They didn't see. Zero budgeting simply means budgeting for what you need. Bello El Rufai was very honest when he said on the floor of the House of Representatives about how all these MDAs come up. They are every year they are budgeting to buy plates, they are budgeting to buy cars. Basically, what they do every year is that they will go to the 2023 budget, they will cut it out, and they will add 20% on the overhead. You know, there's no even scientific rigor on it. It's a criminal thing. Over 60% of what we claim we spent on recurrent expenditure are allegedly stolen. That is why you see an average civil servant who earns 70,000, who earns maximum of maybe cumulatively 1 billion naira a month, building mansions in Abuja and all the highbrow areas. Where did the money come from? It's the budgeting. They budget, they pay, they loot. And nobody is checkmated. See, you don't give a dog meat to protect, because the dog will eat the meat. The only way you can put the dog in charge of a meat is either you tie up the mouth, muzzle the mouth, or you put the meat in a cage or a place where they cannot touch it. Because if you muzzle the mouth, it becomes useless as a protector. So therefore you have to, and this is involved processes. The processes are tweaked, laws are managed, are put in place to ensure that a society progresses. Now, back to the kernel of the matter. Budget deficit of 13 trillion. We can actually fund this budget 100%. Debt servicing of 15 trillion. We're actually planning to even borrow more, because we're going to borrow 13 trillion to plug the gap. Revenue of only about 30-something trillion. Nigeria, as of today, can actually raise revenue of 100 trillion naira. Activating some of our latent potential. The NNPC alone can actually generate over $121 billion annually. We can stop the leakages. The Brazilians were in the current state we were today some years back. What did they do? They know that anywhere in the whole world, the public sector sometimes. But why do you think Trump is trying to do his director of government, whatever, donkey? Why do you think he's trying to do it? Appointing Elon Musk and Rashwani to help him drain the swamp in the public service. Billions, tens and hundreds of billions of dollars are wasted annually in the public sector bureaucracy. Until you introduce efficiency, you will keep on running deficit. 60% of the things we waste as regards to Nigeria are avoidable. These are monies that will have been saved from those that will want to loot it, those that want to waste it, and put on things that will help us. How do we ramp up crude oil output? How do we stop the leakages in the downstream sector? How do we make sure those refineries that we've sunk in over 11 trillion naira without any success recovery, how do we make them work? We simple things we need to do. The only corporation that is working today in Nigeria is the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas. And it's because it's working efficiently. Corporate governance is in place because it is 51% owned by private sectors. The Brazilians understood this. Petrobras, they privatized Petrobras, sold 72% of government holding and kept only 28%. If today, with the shares of NNPC being held by Ministry of Finance Incorporated and the Petroleum Ministry, are sold down 71%, 30% to core investors. 3 core investors, not 1 core investor, 10%. Core investors with requisite capacity, with deep funding. And then 70% sold to Nigerians. Nigerians, public Nigerians, sold Nigerians. And we list it on the floor of the exchange. I tell you the truth. That place will work efficiently. That place will be shielded from public sector corruption and influence. You cannot tell an investor or Nigerians who invested their monies that you're going to fix their refinery in 1 year. You've not fixed. They will fire you. You will not come on air and tell Nigerians or investors that you lose $1.9 billion of our crude oil every month, and they will keep you there after 6 months. They will fire you. When people are stakeholders in what brings food to the table, everybody will want to protect it. Today, what we have are just few people in place of power and authority messing up the rest of Nigerians. Nigeria is only Obasanjo between 1999 to 2023 never sold crude oil at anything above $28 per barrel. In fact, when he became president, crude oil was selling for $17.36 per barrel. Fact check me. How was Obasanjo able to produce crude oil, sell crude oil, and be able to do all that he did and still left behind $45 billion in reserve after paying off 32 billion, after paying off 30, able to pay off our external debt, saved so much in the reserve, and did all the reform that he did for a period of 8 years. We start selling crude oil. How are we able to produce crude oil? Today, we are producing crude oil at average cost of $21 to $31. In fact, at some level, $40 a barrel. The cost, because of insecurity, because of inefficiency, because of corruption, because of obsolete technology in our crude oil production processes. When Donald Trump became president in 2016, American crude oil output per day was about 8.5 million barrels. By the time he left in 2020, he ramped it up to $13.5 million barrels a day. And that is share production that is more costly. We can actually do the same thing here, but we need to inject efficiency. And the only way we can inject efficiency in that sector that gives us our working capital. And I'll give an example. Our budget benchmark is 2 million barrels a day. Our price benchmark is $5 per barrel. If we add extra 500,000 barrels on top, we will not run a budget deficit. And on the oil sector, the poverty in Nigeria is so perverse because we are not doing anything to put Nigeria's productive work. I have shared with us here very unique measures under what we tag missions, community, diaspora, private-public partnership, execution architecture that can help us to create over 20 to 30 million jobs every year through the agro value chain. Create agro clusters, industrial clusters across the agro value chain, from upstream to processing to storage to distribution and to export. We will achieve 99%, if not 100%, domestic food self-sufficiency. We will save the over $11 billion that we waste important things we can produce here. We will generate nothing less than $250–350 billion from agro commodities. I give you, we'll set up each agro cluster. We can start with the local government areas. In every local government area, we can create an agro cluster that will take us nothing less than $6 million to do. That will give us at least $42 million every year. On security, we know that the current security architecture of Nigeria is not working. We know that even if you pump 10 trillion under the current security architecture that is not devolved and decentralized, that criminality will still continue. Buhari wasted $25 billion on security. When he became president, insecurity was narrowed to the northeast. Today, even in his own term, Katsina State, bandits have taken over after squandering $22 billion and printing 23.5 trillion naira. By way and means, under $53 billion wasted. If we decide today to reject the current security act, security is indigenous. The truth is, lawful terror deters unlawful terror. People must have trust on those protecting them. People must have trust on those that have been put in charge of their security. One of the reasons why the current security architecture is not working, because most of these actors are compromised, and that is the truth. How can we be paying 2.2 trillion naira ransom every year? How can we have over 200 million Nigerians abducted in one way or the other? How can we have a report that says over 600 Nigerians we are murdered because of this security in Nigeria? And how do we solve it? The current security architecture is not working. And the only way it can work is for us to decentralize it. And let it be. We don't need to recruit any other person in the army and the police. Let them stay the way they are. Go back to the communities. Set up a national agro rangers under the supervision of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu. For those who do not understand, who think that we are going to be empowering people that will go wrong, it's another arm of the security outfit of Nigeria, but this one decentralized. It will take us only $3.75 billion, 6 trillion naira to execute. This time around, the recruitment process must be very transparent. Most of us know that even to be recruited in some of the federal agencies, people give bribe. It's allegedly people pay. So a man that you extorted to recruit him to be, what do you think he would do? You already know he's entering into a criminal enterprise. But under this new arrangement, the community, the traditional rulers, the clergy, the people, they know themselves, they know the good, the bad and ugly. They will put their heads together and they will nominate 100 of their trusted sons. We will pay them well, nothing less than 150K a month. We'll train them, the military will train them, and they will be equipped. They will give them AK-47. Give in every local government area, through Innocent and North will produce 3-4 armored personnel carriers and 1 truck-mounted machine gun. We'll give them Kenkoso dogs, hunting dogs. We'll give them drones. And if their job will be to protect the agro-industrial clusters in their local, in their wards and local government area, heavily coordinated by either a retired brigadier general or a DSS official who will be the commandant for every local government area and states. And what is simply, these guys are protecting their fathers, their mothers, their sisters under a regular command system. So some of this propaganda people used to say, the people that are here, these soldiers, these police, they are not our people, they are compromising. All those propaganda will disappear. And the truth is, they know their land. The governor of Zamfara State stated the same thing. He said, if there's political will, they can destroy the bandits in 2 weeks because they know where the bandits hide. Some terrorists are actually cowards. Bullies are cowards. They do this thing. All these criminals tormenting Ali will destroy the southeast. Because where there is no government, where there is a vacuum, the devil will always step in. The propaganda is that, oh, terrorist herdsmen are cleaning our people. That is why they came in. And of course, some of them had gone rogue. Now, when security is in the hand of the people, there will be no propaganda. When we claim 1,000 hectares of our land mass and develop it into agro-industrial parks in every electoral ward, there will be no forest for the hoodlums to hide in. When we create avenues for 20 to 30 million jobs that gives people earnings of not less than 150K every month, there will be no idle hand for the criminals to recruit. What is so difficult about all this? We have a country so blessed by God, naturally endowed by God. We have a country where we have men with vision, men with focus, men with deep understanding, men that can clinically execute these things and make it work. And we still having people die on stampede, hunting for rice. The problem we have in Nigeria is a collective problem. All of us are guilty. All of us are part of the rubbish. There is nobody should try and grandstand. When each and every one of us agree to do the right things, we will do the right things, and here we move forward. Happy Sunday. God bless us all.